Now that Peter had been fed twice in a short time, the system assured Quinn that he could last at least 24 hours before he needed to feed again. At that time, Quinn needed to come up with a solution, or if he couldn't, he would have to find Fex and ask him for help. Vorden and Peter were together in the elemental class. However, they pretended to no longer be on speaking terms with each other, of course. Vorden still kept an eye on him, but he made sure to stay a few meters apart from Peter, or to always have a few other people between them. The teacher was currently making a demonstration. She was showing the different uses of her water ability. She was trying to teach the students that with a little bit of creativity in the use of their respective elements, they could even make their skills. All the students were gathered around her, and they were watching her display. While everyone was looking at the teacher, Vorden noticed that a couple of students had come over to where Peter was standing, and it looked like they were nudging him a bit. The three of them started to move away from the crowd towards the back of the classroom, out of sight of the main group of students. Are they working for Duke? Vorden thought. They won't do anything to him here, and Peter has just been fed, so he shouldn't go on another rampage. Peter had never seen these two students before and was a bit afraid, but when they approached him, he saw that they both had power levels of 2.4 and 2.6. He was no longer worried. One of the students whispered into Peter's ear, "Move to the back of the classroom." Once they were at the back, one of them whispered again, saying, "Duke has a message for you. Make sure you bring your Earth ability up to level 4 by the end of the week. If you do, there will be even more rewards for you." Peter agreed because he didn't know what else to do. As he looked down at his watch, all he could see was the number 1. Now that he had become a ghoul, he couldn't even use his Earth ability anymore. He was wondering how he was going to solve this in a week. Quinn can change the number on his watch by tapping it. Maybe I can ask him how he does that, Peter thought. Fex had woken up that morning and tried his best to fit in during his time at school. He hadn't thought much about what happened last night, and he didn't care that much about it. He was just trying to help a fellow vampire out, but if they didn't want his help, that was their choice. After staying at the school for only 2 days, Fex had already learnt something. Life at the school was quite boring. He had gone out to the city to talk to others and experience some new things, but doing things alone on his own sucked. For some reason, the other students were ignoring him. He chalked this up to being the new kid. Fex didn't know the real reason for this was that his watch was displaying he had a power level of 1. When he made his plan to explain his ability to the school, he hadn't realized there was so much discrimination towards weak people at this school. When coming to the human world, he was hoping to try new things and meet people, but right now he was wondering if he had made a mistake. Then he remembered there was one person that had spoken to him. Although it wasn't a very pleasant meeting, he still remembered it. The first student that he had met was Erin. After doing a bit of research of his own, he was able to find out her name as well as her schedule. Because Fex was a new student, he had to decide which combat class he wanted to go to, and after finding out Erin went to the Beast Weapons class, Fex knew what class he wanted to sign up for. Along the way to the Beast Weapons class, Quinn met up with Layla and Erin, who was trailing behind her. When they met each other, Erin couldn't help but stare at Quinn. Then suddenly, thoughts popped into her head about the book, Bite Me or Love Me. Her face went bright red and turned it away. Images would appear of certain people doing strange things with each other. Although Quinn had no clue what was going on, he was just happy it didn't seem like she was freaking out about the whole thing. It seemed like since Erin didn't have any clue about vampires during her childhood, the revelation didn't come off as a shock to her. On the way there, Quinn was thinking of possible safe ways to approach Fex. He would need to talk to him in a public place where he couldn't use his abilities as freely, but before that, he needed to find out what class he was in or where he was. They arrived in the large training hall, and Leo was there as usual. They hadn't seen each other since he had saved them from the Dalki, and the girls were a lot warmer to him now. As soon as they entered, Leo looked over in their direction and smiled. "If I didn't know any better, I would have thought he could see us," Layla said. "He probably just knows where the entrance is, and when he heard footsteps he smiled at us," Erin replied. But Quinn had a feeling that wasn't true, as he hadn't seen Leo smile at the other students before, and it seemed to be only directed at the 3. What they didn't know was Quinn's aura was always easy to spot, and as soon as he stepped into the room, Leo immediately knew it was Quinn. This time, Leo gathered all the students at the front of the training hall where a small platform had been raised. The platform was a similar size to a boxing ring, only there were no ropes, and it was raised about a foot off the ground. Leo stood on top of this platform as he explained the upcoming lesson to everyone. However, just before the lesson started, a new student had entered the room. Leo was completely distracted as he noticed something. This student had the same aura as Quinn did. "Hey, this is the beast weapons class, right?" Fex said as he walked through. "Who's that?" "I think it's a new student." "This late into the term, that means he must be a draft evader." When they looked at Fex, their interest quickly died down after seeing he only had the number 1 on his watch. He wasn't even worth getting to know, and it would only waste their time. Seeing this, Fex was once again annoyed. "What is wrong with these people?" Fex thought. As he said those words, he started to sniff about in the air. Something seemed to catch his attention. He moved closer to the smell until finally he realized where it was coming from. Quinn and Fex looked at each other. They both knew instantly that this was the person who they had fought last night. Fex gave Quinn one look up and down before walking off to find his spot to watch the lesson. This reaction surprised Quinn, to say the least. Isn't he going to say anything? I'm sure he realized I was the person fighting him last night. If I can smell him, he can smell me, Quinn thought. But Fex wasn't bothered by other people's business, and that included vampires. He already gave out a lending hand, and if Quinn didn't want to take it, that was fine with him. As long as Quinn didn't try to get in his way, then there was no trouble between the two. The lesson had started, but it was hard for Quinn to concentrate. Still, the lesson seemed to be an important one, so Quinn tried his best to listen. As you all know, we have been learning the basics of each weapon. I haven't taught you how to use each weapon individually, but only explained how to activate the beast weapon's power for a greater result, Leo explained as he drew out his katana blade. But there will be times where one's weapon will break, or certain weapons will prove ineffective against the enemy. Leo then threw his blade at the wall behind him. It flew fast, and half of the blade managed to go into the wall until it stopped. In these times, we will have to use our fists. The students started to mumble. Using fists against beats and the Dalki sounded barbaric to them, almost suicidal. If we have abilities, why would we rely on our hands? Yeah, and even then, if I didn't have a beast weapon or was too tired to use my ability, surely guns would be better? The students started to mock and laugh at Leo quietly. I see. So you think that today's lesson is pointless, correct? Leo asked. They were unaware that Leo could hear everything they were saying. Suddenly, Leo started to tear off his military clothing, and underneath he revealed a chest-piece armor that had the face of a demon on it. That's when the students also noticed he was even wearing beast gear on his feet as well. Aaron, Layla, and Quinn all had seen this equipment before. It was the same equipment Leo had worn when he killed the Dalki.
Hi, Quinn here. Wondering what happens next? If you want to jump the queue and unleash all episodes, click on the link here and install the Pocket FM app.